Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 133 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yang's eyes brightened because of the appearance of the essence flame of the 3000 burning flame. The old man Qinghua, who had been observing from a short distance away, transformed into a blurry figure at this moment as he rushed to the essence flame with lightning-like speed. Xiao Yang slightly knit his eyebrows when he saw old demon Qinghua react so quickly. His eyes flickered, but he did not act immediately. Although the essence flame had appeared, there were still 3 honorable elders from the Hall of Souls looking on with ill intent. It would not be easy to snatch this flame. Old demon Qinghua's speed was extremely swift. Within a flash, he had appeared in front of the dark black fire dragon. A hot expression flashed across his eyes. A vast, mighty douqi surged out of his palms and grabbed the fire dragon. "You are seeking death." The douqi of old demon Qinghua had just been summoned when a couple of cold cries suddenly sounded before he could even make contact with the essence flame. Immediately, a wave of rattling metal sounds was transmitted over. A dark, cold wind stuck to the back of old demon Qinghua. Old demon Qinghua slightly frowned upon sensing this vicious force. His body flashed, and he hurriedly dodged. After which, his eyes were ice-cold as he looked at the black-clothed person who had intervened. Other people are not allowed to encroach upon the things my Hall of Souls want." That black-clothed person coldly laughed. Over a dozen dark black chains lingered around his body like poisonous snakes. Sharp spiritual screeches continued to be transmitted from the chains. "I will watch him. All of you should act and snatch the essence flame." The black-clothed person, who had attacked old demon Qinghua, turned his head to the other 2 black-clothed dozuns. He spoke in a deep voice. "Understood." Those 2 black-clothed dozuns also nodded upon hearing his words. After which, they rushed toward the essence flame. The expression of old demon Qinghua changed slightly upon seeing the action of these 2 people. His foot had just stepped out when over a dozen dark black chains cut through the air. They carried a sharp, chilling aura that wrapped around all of his vital points. "Bastard." Old Qinghua immediately let out a quiet curse as these dark black chains rushed over. However, he did not dare to easily slight them. The douqi within his body surged out at this moment. Using his bare hands, he began a tough fight with that black-clothed dozun. While old demon Qinghua was being pestered, those 2 black-clothed dozuns surrounded the dark black, small fire dragon one behind the other in front. Their eyes exchanged a glance with one another, and their fingers were flickered. 10 somewhat tiny, dark black chains rushed out of their sleeves with a clanging sound. After which, they ruthlessly rushed over to the essence flame of the 3000 burning flame. The size of the small fire dragon was still quite impressive, about 10 feet in size. Although its size was far inferior to its previous self, the vaguely present, destructive aura around it caused one to be afraid of underestimating it even a little. A fierce glint flashed over the eyes of the 3000 burning flame in the face of the combined attack of 2 black-clothed dozuns. Today, it had escaped the seal of the 3 great heads with much difficulty. It was unexpected that it had been forced to leave its actual body by the fierce individuals of the Hall of Souls just after its escape. A dark black flame covered the entire body of the 3000 burning flame. It swung its dragon tail, which transformed into a black lightning. It rushed toward the black-clothed dozun in front of it. That black-clothed dozun was slightly shocked as he watched the 3000 burning flame retaliate. The fate of old Mu Jiu earlier had caused him to be afraid of underestimating the flame. Immediately, he swung his sleeves. Black fog surged and a countless number of dark black chains gathered together. They were just like a giant python as it violently collided with the 3000 burning flame. The violent collision between both parties caused sparks to shoot out. Immediately, wave after wave of clear metallic sounds appeared. The fierce chain python completely split apart after facing the 3000 burning flames attack. This beast is very strong. Although the heart of this black-clothed dozun was filled with caution, collapsing upon contact had somewhat exceeded his expectation. Immediately, his footsteps moved and his body hurriedly withdrew. However, he had just showed signs of withdrawing when the space wiggled. The dark black 3000 burning flame rushed out of the space. After which, it was accompanied by a destructive aura that shot toward the heart position of the black-clothed dozun, like an arrow released from a bow. This extremely fierce attack of the 3000 burning flame had aroused a fierce aura within the heart of this black-clothed dozun. Since when had he been forced into such a state during all these years? This fierce aura had just surged in his heart when the black-clothed dozun suddenly clenched his right fist. A vast, mighty, dark black, chilly fog gushed of his body. After which, he threw out a merciless punch. Bang! The punch heavily collided with the fire dragon. A thunderous explosion resounded over the star region. A hot fire wave swept out in a lightning-like fashion. The expression of the black-clothed dozun changed almost instantly following the collision between the 2. A mouthful of bright red fresh blood was spat out. After this collision, he finally understood just how terrifying this 3000 burning flame was. Although the 3000 burning flame had been weakened after having experienced various battles, its annihilation strength still managed to destroy his defensia in an easy manner within a mere instant. The feet of the black-clothed Dozun continuously stepped back. A moment later, he finally stabilized his body in a somewhat miserable manner. His face was covered in shock. No wonder old Mu Jiyu could not even receive a blow earlier. This destructive force was really too difficult to block. Although the black-clothed Dozun was seriously injured, the dark black flame of the 3000 burning flame had also become much darker. Clearly, that attack from earlier had exhausted it. Attack, it will not be able to endure for long. That black-clothed Dozun wiped off the blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. He saw the flame on the body of the 3000 burning flame suddenly become dimmer. A joy surged into his shocked eyes as he cried out to his companion. The other Dozun from the Hall of Souls also nodded upon hearing this. However, after prior experience, they were much more careful. He waved his sleeves and countless numbers of spirits, covered by black fog, appeared. After which, they surged toward the 3000 burning flame from all directions. From the looks of it, he intended to use the soul explosion to completely exhaust the remaining strength of the 3000 burning flame. Although this tactic was a vicious one, it must be said that it was quite effective. Under the suicidal charge of the countless number of spirits, the 3000 burning flame could only continue to dodge. However, the deep black flame on its body was gradually becoming paler. It appeared to show signs of returning to the kind of purple-black flame of the past. The 3000 burning flame continued to dodge the soul explosions as a furious roar reverberated through the air. Seeing this scene, old Mu Jiyu and the black-clothed Dozun, who had suffered a great loss to the hands of the 3000 burning flame, also sighed in relief. If the 4 Dozuns were unable to deal with the 3000 burning flame despite acting together, they would definitely be punished when they returned. Xiao Yang in the distance observed the 3000 burning flame being forced to dodge by the tactics of the Dozuns from the Hall of Soul. His eyes slowly narrowed. Currently, he could sense the 3000 burning flame growing weaker. Things are bad. It is unexpected that these people from the Hall of Souls would be this vicious. They use such a tactic to exhaust the strength of the 3000 burning flame. If this continues, the 3000 burning flame will likely land in their hands. Qiu Ling by the side spoke in a deep voice with an unusually grave expression. Has teacher and the rest not freed themselves? Cao Ying knit her brows and asked. This star region cannot accommodate so many elite Dozuns. Originally, the star region should have collapsed soon after these people entered. However, from the looks of it, the 3 association heads are stabilizing it. I think that they should be able to split their attention and enter soon, Qiu Ling replied. What should we do? The 3000 burning flame looks like it will not be able to endure for long. Chen Dan softly asked. Leave it to me. This sudden laugh caused Qiu Ling and the others to be startled. Their eyes immediately turned to Xiao Yang, only to see that he had a face full of smiles. First Elder Qiu Ling. Can I invite you to intervene and block old Mu Jiyu and the other injured Dozun from the Hall of Souls? Xiao Yang glanced around as he asked. Old Mu Jiyu and that black-clothed Dozun are seriously injured. It is not difficult to block them. Qiu Ling hesitated before replying in a deep voice. Cuckoo, in that case, I will have to trouble First Elder Qiu Ling with regards to the 2 of them. Leave the final Dozun from the Hall of Souls and the 3000 burning flames to me. Xiao Yang slightly laughed. Can you handle it? Qiu Ling was startled when he heard Xiao Yang's words. He immediately asked somewhat doubtfully. Although he did not have any comments about Xiao Yang's pill refinement ability, this was currently not pill refinement. Instead, it was a real battle. From the looks of the aura of the Dozun from the Hall of Souls, who was fighting the 3000 burning flame, he should be an expert whose strength had reached that of a 3-star Dozun. With Xiao Yang's strength, fighting him and dealing with the 3000 burning flame would not be a relaxing task. Xiao Yang smiled in the face of Qiu Ling's doubt. He flicked his finger and a golden light suddenly rushed out of his storage ring. After which, it transformed into a golden human figure. It was surprisingly the sky demon puppet that had evolved after having experienced numerous pill lightning. Qiu Ling was startled upon seeing this sky demon puppet with its golden luster. He slowly nodded. It was possible for him to sense a faint dangerous from it. Since you are confident, I will leave the 3000 burning flame and the Dozun from the Hall of Souls to you. It will naturally be best if you have the confidence to subdue the 3000 burning flame. Qiu Ling deeply looked at Xiao Yang. He was naturally aware that Xiao Yang was extremely interested in the 3000 burning flame. Xiao Yang smiled as he nodded. He did not utter any additional unnecessary words. His feet stepped through empty space, and his body rushed in the direction of the Dozun from the Hall of Souls with lightning-like speed. The sky demon puppet by his side transformed into a golden glow that followed close behind. 3000 burning flame, you belong to me. A fiery heat that was difficult to hide flashed across Xiao Yang's eyes as he watched the small, black fire dragon. Xiao Yang, you are seeking death. Old Mu Jiyu had sensed Xiao Yang the moment his figure had flashed forward. Immediately, old Mu Gu's eyes turned chilly as he cried out in a stern manner. Xiao Yang neither heard nor bothered to deal with old Mu Gu's cry. He brought the Sky Demon puppet along and unleashed his speed to the maximum. He rushed toward the Dozun from the Hall of Souls who was blocking the 3000 burning flame. Kill him. An extremely deep killing intent surged into old Mugu's eyes when he saw Xiao Yang ignore his cries. After which, he cried in out a deep voice to the black-clothed Dozun, who had been injured by the 3000 burning flame earlier. That black-clothed Dozun nodded upon hearing old Mugu's cry. Those two rushed out at the same time. Their vast and mighty Do-Chi caused waves of ripples to appear. The bodies of the two had just moved a short distance when the space in front of them distorted. A figure slowly appeared and blocked these two. Qiu Ling, get lost. Old Mugu's face turned chilly as he cried out when he saw Qiu Ling appearing in front of him. Qiu Ling merely let out a cold laugh in the face of old Mugu's chilly cry. He did not utter any unnecessary words. The Do-Chi within his body was unleashed without being held back. After which, his body moved, and he hurried toward old Mugu. Old Mugu's expression slightly changed upon seeing Qiu Ling hurry over. In his current state, he was no match for Qiu Ling. His eyes immediately slid to the black-clothed Dozun by his side. He suggested in a deep voice, let's attack together and take care of this old fellow. Understood. That black-clothed Dozun also nodded upon hearing this. He was also badly injured. The special annihilation strength of the 3000 burning flame had caused the inside of his body to be seriously injured. With his current condition, he was unable to fight with Qiu Ling on his own. It was the best choice for the two of them to fight together. A cold smile flashed across Qiu Ling's eyes when he saw old Mugu's group attack together. He did not withdraw. Instead, he approached them with an even fiercer stance. The black-clothed Dozun engaged in an intense battle with old demon Qinghua also sensed when Xiao Yang's group acted. His expression quickly changed as he tried to escape the battle. However, old demon Qinghua continued to pester him. How unlucky. I met that old fellow Yarou Chen back then when searching for a heavenly flame. Now, I have met his disciple while doing the same thing, forget it. Perhaps the old me does not possess that kind of fate. This time around, I shall help this little fellow on the account of my friendship with Yarou Chen. Old demon Qinghua glanced at Xiao Yang, who had rushed toward the 3000 burning flame. He quietly sighed in his heart before he charged forward. Do-Chi surged as he firmly pestered that black-clothed Dozun. A continuous black fog surged out of the sleeves of the last Hall of Souls Dozun in all directions. The interior of the black fog appeared to be filled with an innumerable number of souls. They poured down like a storm. After which, they exploded on the fire body of the 3000 burning flame, causing the dark black flame to ripple. Soon, this 3000 burning flame will not be able to endure for much longer. The hearts of those Dozuns from the Hall of Souls sighed in relief as they watched the retreating purple-black flame of the 3000 burning flame. However, just when he was about to unleash a soul to self-destruct, an unusually terrifying wind suddenly appeared behind him, causing his expression to change. Clang. While his expression had undergone a drastic change, the clothes on his back tore and black fog agglomerated into a chain that violently rushed out. After which, a wave of clear metallic sounds resonated through the air. Bang! Although the chain had blocked the attack, the remnant force still shook this Dozun from the Hall of Souls until he took 2 continuous steps back. Only then did he stabilize his body. His expression was dark and cold as he raised his head, only to see a golden-colored figure standing where he had withdrew from. Brat, are you tired of living? The Dozun from the Hall of Souls swept his eyes around. He saw the Sky Demon puppet standing behind Xiao Yang as he questioned him in cold voice. Attack! Xiao Yang faintly glanced at the Dozun before softly commanding. Bang! After his voice sounded, the Sky Demon puppet's feet immediately pushed against empty air. Xiao Yang could hear a slight muffled sound, and the puppet appeared in front of the Dozun from the Hall of Souls with lightning-like speed. It raised his golden-colored metal fist and created a terrifying wind that violently smashed toward the Dozun's head. The expression of the Dozun from the Hall of Souls slightly changed when he saw the crumbling space where the Sky Demon puppet's fist passed. He did not dare to slight it as he hurriedly used all of his strength to meet it. Bang! Xiao Yang only smiled the instant he saw the Dozun from the Hall of Souls fighting with the Sky Demon puppet. His head turned to the 3000 burning flame a short distance away. At this moment, the flame on its body appeared a little dim. However, Xiao Yang discovered that waves of star strength were seeping out of the surrounding empty space. After which, they were absorbed by the 3000 burning flame into its body. Following the pouring in of this star strength, the flame on its body gradually grew stronger. It is indeed worthy of being an undying flame. Xiao Yang felt a little awe in his heart upon seeing this scene. There was indeed a reason why this 3000 burning flame was called an undying flame. If it continued to absorb the strength of the stars, it was likely that it would recover its strength within a short while. At that time, it would be extremely difficult to deal with it. It must not be allowed to continue to absorb the strength of the stars. Xiao Yang stepped through empty space as this thought flashed across his heart. He flashed and appeared in front of the 3000 burning flame. A jade-green flame slowly surged out of his body. After which, it completely wrapped around the 3000 burning flame. The eyes of the 3000 burning flame were ice-cold as it looked at Xiao Yang in front of it. By the time the jade-green flame rose, its eyes had become a little stunned. Immediately, a desire that had never appeared before suddenly appeared in its eyes. Although it didn't know just what the jade-green flame was after having been sealed for so many years, its instincts told it that if it could devour the flame, it would no longer need to be afraid of the three great heads of the Pill Tower. The expression of desire in the eyes of the 3000 burning flame was also captured in Xiao Yang's eyes. He involuntarily shook his head. Back then, when the fallen heart flame was looking at him, it also felt this emotion. The only difference was that the fallen heart flame did not display its desire as prominently as the 3000 burning flame. Whether you can devour my heavenly flame will be determined by your ability. Xiao Yang laughed. A silver glow flashed under his feet and a thunderous roar resounded through the air. He appeared above the head of the 3000 burning flame in a ghost-like fashion. After which, his fist, surrounded by the jade-green flame, was violently smashed toward the 3000 burning flame's head. Faced with this attack by Xiao Yang, the 3000 burning flame, which was in a disadvantageous position, was unwilling to withdraw. It swung its dragon tail and heavily smashed against Xiao Yang's fist. Bang! Two waves of flames were pressed into arcs as the two collided. After which, a wind surged and shook the space until dark black fissures appeared. The fierce and powerful strength caused Xiao Yang and the 3000 burning flame to withdraw some distance. After which, the 3000 burning flame roared at the sky. It widened its dragon's mouth and an extremely terrifying purple-black fire pillar shot towards Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang let out a cold laugh when he saw the fire pillar being shot over. He was indeed no match for the 3000 burning flame at its peak. Unfortunately, its current condition was no longer even 1/10 of its peak. The fire pillar swiftly expanded in Xiao Yang's eyes. It was about to enter a 10-foot region around his body when a thought passed through Xiao Yang's heart. The glazed lotus heart flame surged out of his body. Immediately, it transformed into a raging wall of fire. Bang! The purple-black flame violently struck the jade-green wall of fire. The two heavenly flames had finally collided head-on. They wildly unleashed their terrifyingly destructive strengths. The fire pillar swiftly rose into waves of ripples. However, regardless of how the 3000 burning flame burned, the jade-green wall of fire continued to remain stable. The stalemate between the two continued for around 10 minutes or so before the purple-black fire pillar finally began to gradually weaken due to the exhaustion of the 3000 burning flame. A glow flashed across Xiao Yang's eyes as he looked at the somewhat sluggish 3000 burning flame. The jade-green wall of fire suddenly scattered. At the same time, a jade bottle appeared in his hand. It was thrown at the purple-black fire pillar that had yet to completely scatter. Bang bang! The jade bottle burst apart on contact with the 3000 burning flame. A snow-white-colored liquid shot out of it. The liquid had just made contact with the purple-black flame when it suddenly erupted into waves of white fog. An ice-cold bone-chilling flow was present within the fog. Although the white fog swiftly scattered because of the purple-black flame, Xiao Yang had undoubtedly added to the misery of the 3000 burning flame. The dark black flame on its body completely changed into the purple-black color of the past. It's now. The moment the dark black flame lingering on the 3000 burning flame transformed back into a purple-black color, a glint suddenly flashed across Xiao Yang's eyes. A lightning glow flashed under his feet and he disappeared in a strange manner amid rippling space. By the time he appeared, he was already above the head of the 3000 burning flame. Xiao Yang clenched his hand after appearing. Another tiny jade bottle appeared in his hand. After which, it was thrown by him with lightning-like speed. It violently struck the forehead of the 3000 burning flame. It broke with a bang and a drop of dark golden blood slowly appeared. The body of the 3000 burning flame immediately stiffened when the drop of dark golden blood touched its forehead. The expression in its eyes revealed a dullness. At the same time, a strange seal vaguely surfaced on its forehead. From the looks of the seal, it was the same as the dragon seal on Xiao Yang's palm. It is indeed the dragon seal. A wild joy flashed across Xiao Yang's face when he saw the strange symbol on the forehead of the 3000 burning flame. Xiao Yang, who was in a state of wild joy, discovered that the dragon seal on his hand had gradually become hot soon after that strange symbol appeared on the forehead of the 3000 burning flame. At the same time, an extremely mysterious feeling suddenly appeared in his heart. Xiao Yang felt stunned soon after this mysterious feeling appeared. He stared at the 3000 burning flame in front of him, and he seemed to be able to sense its emotion. Roar! The 3000 burning flame was dull for a moment once the symbol appeared, but it once again recovered its cautiousness while Xiao Yang was feeling shocked. At this moment, it appeared to have understood something. An ice-cold, fierce glint suddenly flashed as it firmly stared at Xiao Yang. The symbol on its forehead also grew brighter. Xiao Yang's heart was cold when he saw the fierce glint that filled the eyes of the 3000 burning flame. He was aware that he would be in a dangerous situation soon. It was just as Zi Yang had said. This dragon seal worked both ways. If he was unable to control the 3000 burning flame, he would be controlled by it. This was something that Xiao Yang would not allow to happen regardless of what happens. Come, I want to see just how fierce you are. At this moment, only one of the two would survive. Xiao Yang was not some random person. Immediately, a fierce glow surged into his eyes. He had already swallowed 2 heavenly flames. Would he not be able to deal with this 3000 burning flame? Roar! The 3000 burning flame raised its head and let out a roar. The seal on its forehead suddenly emitted a golden light. It was just like a dazzling golden sun that had risen within the star region. Following the brightening of the symbol on the forehead of the 3000 burning flame, the mysterious feeling within Xiao Yang's heart became more clear. A moment later, his eyes suddenly became dazzled. He was absent-minded. When he appeared again, he was in an extremely foreign space. This space was filled with purple-black flames, and Xiao Yang was present in these endless flames. Foolish human. A furious dragon roar was suddenly transmitted from the purple-black flames. A wild wind whizzed by and an unusually large dragon slowly rose from the sea of fire. It lingered in the sky while it watched Xiao Yang, who was standing in the sea of flames. Xiao Yang's eyes focused on the large dragon within the purple-black flames. A moment later, he inhaled a breath of hot air. He clearly understood that this was the spiritual world of the 3000 burning flame. It wanted to dominate the dragon's seal and control Xiao Yang in the process. A soul battle her. Xiao Yang raised his hand. He glanced at the somewhat illusionary palm while his face was as rippleless as an old well. A thought passed through Xiao Yang's heart. A vast, mighty spiritual strength formed a lotus seat under his body. After which, he sat cross-legged. His dark black eyes stared at the 3000 burning flame within the sea of fire as he coldly laughed. Beast, show me what you've got. Roar. The 3000 burning flame immediately emitted a furious roar. Under this roar, the purple-black flames within this space wildly soared. After which, they surged towards Xiao Yang from all directions with extremely shocking momentum. Xiao Yang's expression was unusually calm when faced with this wild attack from the 3000 burning flame. At this moment, they were not only fighting with their souls, but also with their wills. Whoever could last until the end would be the final victor. These years of training had forged Xiao Yang into an unmoving mountain of toughness and calmness. It was impossible to tell just who would die in whose hand if they were to really engage in an all-out fight. The purple-black flames rushed over as a circular jade-green fire barrier slowly spread out of Xiao Yang's body. Finally, the jade-green flame transformed into a round cover that wrapped around his body. He appeared just like an unmoving mountain regardless of how the purple-black flames collided with him. The battle that would decide the fates of the two had just begun. Cao Ying and the rest in distant empty space revealed faces that were filled with anxiety and doubt as they looked into the distance. Xiao Yang had suddenly ceased all actions. His eyes were shut tight. Moreover, the thing that really surprised them was the purple-black fire dragon in front of him. At this moment, that extremely fierce fellow had descended into a strange silence. Its body had surfaced in the air. If some life force had not been emitted from the bodies of the person and the dragon, it was likely that others would have wondered if these two had suddenly lost their lives. What happened? Cao Ying knit her brows as she softly asked. They seemed to have changed their fighting method. I am able to sense Xiao Yang maneuvering an extremely great amount of spiritual strength. The 3000 burning flame is also showing some activity in this area. I think that it should be a soul battle. Dan Chen softly said by the side. Soul battle? Cao Ying's expression changed slightly upon hearing her words. One could only engage in a soul battle if one's spiritual strength had reached a certain level. However, this kind of battle was too fierce. If one were careless, irreparable damage could occur to one's soul. Moreover, it might even cause one's spiritual strength to gradually weaken. Hence, even some true experts with powerful spiritual strengths did not dare to engage in a soul battle. However, it is pointless to worry now. Disturbing either one of them at this moment would result in a backlash. The results will be extremely serious. We can only wait for it to naturally end, Dan Chen said. Cao Ying tightly frowned. However, she could not think of a solution. All she could do was quietly sigh within her heart. When Cao Ying's group discovered the strange condition of Xiao Yang and the 3000 burning flame, old Mu Jiyu and the others also sensed it. They were immediately startled. Although they were unaware of why Xiao Yang would suddenly engage in a soul battle with the 3000 burning flame, they understood that now was a good opportunity to act. As long as they interrupted the face-off between Xiao Yang and the 3000 burning flame, both of them would suffer a backlash, killing two birds with one stone. You will stop him. I will attack. Old Mu Jiyu clenched his teeth and yelled as a glint flashed across his eyes. That black-clothed Do Zun, who was bitterly battling with Qiu Ling, hesitated for a moment upon hearing this. He could only violently nod. There was not enough time. They could only withdraw if they did not gain anything. Old Mu Jiyu immediately flew off. Qiu Ling's expression sank when he saw old Mu Jiyu attempt to flee from the battle. He was just about to give chase when the somewhat weary Do Zun unleashed an extremely crazy counterattack, pulling Qiu Ling's focus back to the battle. Cao Ying, stop him. Qiu Ling's expression changed after being delayed by the black-clothed Do Zun, who was using all his effort. Cao Ying and the others hurriedly nodded upon hearing his cry. Their bodies had just moved when the two experts from the Hall of Souls, who had gotten into the top 10 along with old Mu Jiyu, rushed over and blocked the three of them. At this moment, everyone had been delayed. Hence, all they could do was watch with their eyes as old Mu Jiyu swiftly pounced towards Xiao Yang and the 3000 burning flame. Xiao Yang, you have created a great opportunity for the old me. A ferocious smile flashed across old Mu Gu's eyes as he looked at Xiao Yang and the 3000 burning flame from close proximity. A deep blue flame surged out of his palm. After which, it slammed violently toward the top of Xiao Yang's head. Bang! Just when old Mu Jiyu was about to attack, an unusually vast and mighty force suddenly cut through the air and violently smashed into old Mu Gu's chest. This sudden, heavy blow caused old Mu Gu's face to turn pale. A mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Immediately, shock surged into his eyes as he sharply cried out, "Shen Kongzi? The Hall of Souls really acts in a great manner. It has actually dispatched so many experts this time around." Old Mu Gu's sharp voice had just sounded when an ice-cold elderly voice slowly reverberated through the empty space. A slight ripple appeared within space itself when the elderly voice sounded. Immediately, a figure slowly appeared. "The delay outside has failed, scatter." Old Mu Gu's eyes suddenly shrank upon seeing that it was indeed Shen Kongzi. He clenched his teeth and immediately cried out. Since Shen Kongzi had appeared, they were completely without hope. The cry had just sounded when old Mu Jiyu swiftly took out a silver-colored jade plate from his storage ring. He shattered it without any hesitation. A majestic spatial strength surged out and a dark black spatial crack appeared. Shen Kongzi had just appeared when the remaining 3 dozens from the Hall of Souls expressions drastically changed. There was no need for old Mu Gu's reminder. Their jade plates appeared, and a couple of spatial crevices swiftly appeared when they were broken. "Since you have come, leave some souvenirs behind." A cold smile immediately flashed across Shen Kongzi's face as he watched the 4 Hall of Souls dozens quickly run. He clenched his fist and smashed at the 4 of them across space. His punch bulled through space. As the space around his fist crumbled, for unusually terrifying, invisible fist imprints penetrated space itself. They landed on the chests of the 4 people after appearing from extremely strange directions. Immediately, the sound of bones cracking apart appeared. 4 bright red blood foams were spat out of their mouths along with some shattered internal organs. After which, their bodies launched into the spatial cracks, using the terrifying force on the fists to disappear. 4 dozens were defeated with a punch. This strength was indeed worthy of being one of the 3 great heads of the Pill Tower. Shen Kongzi had frightened off the 4 dozens from the Hall of Souls after just showing his face. He was just about to speak when his expression suddenly changed. It was possible to see the incomparably large, purple dragon swelling at this moment. The purple-black flame was like a volcano that continued to erupt. The 3,000 burning flame is about to erupt. Even with Shen Kongzi's calmness, he could not help but gently inhale a break of air as he looked at the swiftly swelling body. The enormous body of the 3,000 burning flame in the star region was rapidly swelling. Numerous 1,000-foot-large purple-black flames surged out in all directions from under the dragon scales. In the blink of an eye, they swept over a portion of the empty space. Moreover, from the looks of it, the eruption was far from over. This large-scale fire eruption caused even Shen Kongzi's expression to slightly change. He sensed that the 3,000 burning flame seemed to have released all of the flames that it had absorbed over many years at this moment. What happened? Shen Kongzi's eyes flashed. He suddenly turned to where Xiao Yang was located, only to see that he and the 3,000 burning flame had descended into silence. An instant later, Shen Kongzi seemed to have understood something. His expression gradually became grave as he exclaimed in a deep voice, "It is a soul battle. This fellow is really too bold." Bang! A portion of the body belonging to the enormous dragon exploded while Shen Kongyi mused. An unusually terrifying, purple-black flame wave swept through like lightning manner. The sky-burning temperature caused the interior of the star region to become a sea of flames. The purple-black fire sea split apart when it had reached a 10-foot radius around the body of Xiao Yang and the 3,000 burning flames essence flame. It left behind an flame-free area at that spot before rushing into the distance. "Qiu Ling, bring them and leave first." Shen Kongzi's expression had become a lot more serious as he sensed the terrifying temperature within the star region. The 3,000 burning flame has absorbed so many years of flames. The might that it unleashed was mind-boggling. Even he did not dare to stay in this kind of place for too long. Regardless of how strong one's doqi was, it would be extremely difficult to protect against the temperature of the 3,000 burning flame. Qiu Ling nodded his head with a grave expression when he heard Shen Kongli's command. He waved his sleeves at Cao Ying's trio, and a gentle breeze lifted the 3 of them before swiftly rushing them in the direction of the star region's exit. "Teacher, there's still Xiao Yang." Cao Ying, who was being forcefully pulled away, hurriedly yelled. Shen Kongzi tightly frowned. His focused on Xiao Yang, who was within the purple-black flames. The surrounding flames appeared cautious and did not surge toward him. However, if one were to remain in this place for too long, the temperature was high enough that an elite dozun would not be able to last long. "I should forcefully bring him away." Shen Kongzi finally clenched his teeth after his heart hesitated for a moment. Although breaking the condition Xiao Yang was in would cause him harm, there was no other choice. With Xiao Yang's strength, he would not be able to hold out against such a burning temperature for long. Shen Kongzi's body moved while this thought flashed across his heart. After which, he rushed toward Xiao Yang. He appeared above Xiao Yang, and he was just about to act when a golden light rushed over. It ruthlessly smashed at his head. This sudden attack caused Shen Kongzi to knit his eyebrows. He waved his sleeves and collided with the golden light figure. After which, he forced back the figure. He glanced over and saw the figure was the puppet that had helped Xiao Yang receive many pill lightnings. Damn it. Looking at the situation, it was obvious that the Sky Demon puppet had treated him as an enemy. With Xiao Yang's orders, the low intelligence of the sky demon puppet only knew how to stubbornly execute its task of protecting Xiao Yang. Any actions that would harm Xiao Yang would be viewed as an enemy act. Although the sky demon puppet was unable to block Shen Kongzi, the attack earlier had caused him to lose his last chance because the enormous dragon body had emitted another bang at this moment. Bang bang! A section of the dragon's body exploded, and terrifying purple-black flames immediately swept toward Shen Kongzi from all directions, like the roar of a dragon. Shen Kongzi's eyes were tightly knit upon sensing just how terrifying the sea of fire was. His eyes were hesitant as he glanced at Xiao Yang below. If he were to leave at this moment, it was likely that Xiao Yang would end up dying. Why aren't you leaving quickly? You will only be waiting for your death if you stay. That little fellow looks a little strange. It is likely that nothing untoward will happen to him. Old demon Qinghua was unable to withstand the high temperature while Shen Kongzi was hesitating. His body hurriedly rushed away to get out of the star region. He did not forget to urge Shen Kongzi to leave when he passed him by. Soon after the words of old demon Qinghua sounded, a jade-green-colored flame suddenly poured out of Xiao Yang's body, like a cover. It slowly spread and coincidentally wrapped around him. Heavenly flame her. Shen Kongzi only relaxed upon seeing this. He glanced at the purple-black flame. It rumbled as it swept over while accompanying a line of fire that stretched endlessly. Finally, he ceased hesitating. From the looks of it, Xiao Yang clearly had his own plans. Shen Kongzi felt a little reassured. At the very least, Xiao Yang did not appear to be someone reckless while Shen Kongzi had observed him. Little fellow, since you insist on choosing this, you can only seek your own blessing. Shen Kongzi softly sighed. After which, he ceased remaining any longer as he turned around and rushed to the exit of the star region. His body flashed a couple of times as he glanced at the two experts from the Hall of Souls who had managed to get into the top 10. These two people did not possess a precious spatial jade plate like old Mu Jiyu and the others. Hence, they could only quietly flee for their lives. Due to the chaos that had been created by the Hall of Souls, Shen Kongzi was filled with fury. He saw these two people sneaking around and immediately let out a cold snort. He waved his sleeves and a majestic force surged out. It wrapped around the both of them before throwing them into the purple-black sea of fire. The unlucky Hall of Souls experts had just fallen into a sea of fire when they emitted sharp, miserable cries. Do-chi within their body erupted with all their might. However, within 10 seconds, the do-chi was completely swallowed by the flames. The bodies of the two of them were turned into ashes that scattered within the blink of an eye. How ruthless. Old demon Qinghua immediately raised his thumb to Shen Kongzi upon seeing what he did. However, after his words had just sounded, he sensed a fiery heat all over his body. He immediately let out a strange cry and no longer dared delay any longer. He went all out and shot to the exit of the star region. Shen Kongzi turned his head and looked at the purple-black sea of fire that had spread over the entire star region. A circular, green-colored light rippled like a tree leaf in a large sea. No one knew just when it would sink. Little fellow, whatever happens next will depend on your good fortune. Shen Kongzi sighed in his heart. He looked at the continuous line of fire that was surging over. His body moved, and he rushed to the exit of the star region. After a flash, he fled from it. After the final person had escaped from the star region, the region had become dead quiet. Purple-black flames spread over every part of the star region like a sea of fire. The terrifying temperature caused even space itself to distort. Currently, it was possible to see some rubble within Holy Pill City. Clearly, this place had experienced a big battle earlier. The silver spatial door fluctuated in the sky above the Pill Tower. Immediately, numerous human figures fled miserably from it. There was even hot, purple-black flames spitting out the door, causing those watching to feel stunned. Close the star region. Shen Kongzi's body flashed, and he sprang from the large spatial door. His eyes glanced into it, only to see the purple-black sea of flames swiftly moving closer. His expression sank as he cried out. Shen Yi and Tian Lei by the side were startled when they heard his cry. However, upon seeing the grave expression on his face, they did not manage to say anything else. Their hand seals changed and waves of spatial ripples erupted. That large, silver door swiftly disappeared. Bang! A wave of purple-black flames spluttered out when the silver spatial door was about to disappear. It burned some of the experts from the Pill Tower until they withdrew. Miserable cries were emitted from their mouths. What happened? Shen Yi and the other great head hurriedly asked. Their expressions had changed when they witnessed this scene. The body of the 3000 burning flame exploded and all of the flames it had absorbed over the many years scattered. Currently, the star region is likely a sea of fire. We need to strengthen the seal. Otherwise, if the star region breaks, Holy Pill City will be almost instantly annihilated. Shen Kongzi solemnly replied. Shen Yi and Tian Lei's expressions changed upon hearing his explanation. The 3000 burning flame had absorbed the strength of the stars for a countless number of years in order to form such an enormous body. Now that it had completely erupted, its might was such that even they would have to temporarily seek shelter. That's right, where is Xiao Yang? Shen Yi's eyes swept around before suddenly asking. Shen Kongzi hesitated for a moment before replying, he's still in the star region. What? Why didn't you bring him out? Shen Yi's expression drastically changed as she cried out furiously. He is engaging in a soul battle with the essence flame of the 3000 burning flame. Clearly, he intends to use this opportunity to refine it. If I were to forcefully pull him away, I would likely have caused him great harm. Xian Kongzi sighed. Causing him some harm is better than dying inside. Xian Yi's face showed her fury. Xiao Yang was Yarou Chen's disciple. If Yarou Chen was to escape from captivity in the future and learn that Xiao Yang had died within the star region of the Pill Tower, it was likely that Yarou Chen would no longer interact with the Pill Tower given his character. He might even come and seek justice in his anger. There is no need for you to be this anxious. Although Xiao Yang was engaged in a soul battle, he was still able to sense the changes of the outside world. Since he did not choose to withdraw, it is likely that he has his own plans. He is not a reckless person, Tian Lei Zi by the side comforted. Xian Kongzi bitterly laughed and said, "Relax, that little fellow possesses a couple of heavenly flames. Even if the 3000 burning flame completely erupts, it will not be able to do anything to him within a short period of time. We will go in and bring him out once the star region become a little calmer. Hopefully we will not see a pile of ashes when we enter at that time. It is not as though you do not understand Yarou Chen's character. What can he not do when he is angry?" Xian Yi looked at the spot where the star region had shut. She finally waved her sleeves, turned around, and walked to the Pill Tower with some fury. Xian Kongzi and Tian Lei Zi could only helplessly shake their heads when they saw her storm off. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.